has mentioned is the outreach kind of education. I hope all the entities are doing it, and I know the county is doing it in a certain level. Maybe they could do more. Maybe everybody can do more. I brought some material, and I'm going to have you pick it up if you're interested. This is published by the Auditor Controllers Agency. That's the one that I talk about. You know, you do your certification and they do oversight. They established this Office of Contract Compliance. This is new because in the past it was housed within Public Work or let's say CDA. They kind of each doing their own contracting stuff. Now everything is centralized, and GSA is still doing the centralizing of purchasing. Like if you need to buy service, like I'm sure your contract is probably have to go through GSA directly. Workforce, the WIP program, and so the vendor guy that actually talked about the kind of services that Hank is telling me here. So Hank, are you a business coach? Like you're helping people to work with government? Is that what you're doing?
No, it was insurance. So the WIP was provided. WIP is a governmental funding and so forth training. And so it was for the businesses like Harris to help train their staff. So they could convert, and so there was subsidizing training.
Okay, so WIP is Workforce Reinvestment Board. It's a federal program getting federal funding through the state, through the local county to provide training, as we said. So it seems like you are having a contract with WIP to help businesses to expand the business. You know, it could be private, it could be working back with the public, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is a vendor guide, and it goes through the whole information about they are doing the centralized purchasing and what hours, you know, during the day you can contact them. Contracting opportunities, like, you know, if it is $25,000 about, you know, they need a slab participation, which is what I was telling you that you file with them. Basically, there's form you need to fill out. I'm very unhappy to hear you say you did 4 times and then they lost the paperwork. I just can't accept that kind of thing. But
Oh, so you're talking about Prop 209, and while the state of California cannot give preferences based upon minority status or other statuses, the governor, both under Schwarzenegger and now under Governor Brown, does have a concerted effort to reach out to small businesses. So if you're talking about Caltrans, or I deal with the California PUC all the time, they actually have offices of small businesses to reach out to the small business community to try to get contracts with them. And I've participated in a lot of their workshops for various reasons. One of the things I'll also encourage people to do is, if you're a small business and you can find out who the big, sometimes they don't give the contract to the big contract. And then, you know, Asia, you couldn't build a whole building by yourself. I know you want to, but you can't. But a lot of times, if you figure out who the big prime carrier is in that operation, perhaps you can sub out to them. And a lot of the state agencies, I don't know about the county, but the state agencies encourage subcontracting for the contracts because it puts businesses on a path to maybe get a little bigger, maybe down the road they can get a prime contract. And so I'd encourage people to look for 2 things. Look for an office of small business affairs at a state agency or a county agency. And 2, is ask when you're going through that process and you see a big contract, who are the prime carriers that are bidding their contract, and maybe your bid shouldn't go to the agency, but go to that prime carrier.
good advice, John. Thank you. John, you know, I remember maybe a year ago, or a little bit longer, Caltrans was doing a study because The idea about the study is to show whether there's still discrimination in the system, whether they can actually do the preference for minorities and disadvantaged population. I have not heard. Have you heard whether that study is done, whether it's still ongoing?
I have not heard of the specific Caltrans study, but I know that when Governor Schwarzenegger said, the legal side of the house was trying to say we can't get around the law, and that's when they decided to, focus on small business. And it's a stated fact when you go look at in California, 60% of all small businesses are minority owned. So, there's kind of a wink, nod going on here, where when they say small business, it's a way to get around 209 and still create opportunities for, minority-owned businesses. And everybody kind of knows the game. We're not naive to it, but that's why I say reach out to that office of small business and see if there's opportunity for you to either get a small contract or, more importantly, work with the client and get some work and then build yourself up. Because that also connects you back to the agency. And I'll put a plug for utilities and cable companies like Comcast. We do the same thing. We know that we're big companies, we're a little bit bureaucratic at times. It's hard for us to take on a very small vendor. But we tell people, and this goes on with our contractors who do installations in the home, and you have a couple big firms that manage the big contracts, but they bring in smaller vendors to maybe focus on one area or two areas, and that gives that smaller vendor economic opportunity.
That's an excellent point to bring up. So, that's big corporation. They need a diverse supplies of contractors as well. So you can also go try.
What's the official definition for small business companies? Like how many people, or what's the definition of it?
Can you tell me? Dan,
Hi, Marita. It would vary. I think it depends on your business industry, SIC code. Let me give you an example. In the federal government, if you own a computer retail store, small is up to $25 million in sales. That's still small. Okay. So it depends on which level of government and what your industry code is. It varies. You need to contact the individual counties or the cities and the federal government because they all have different criteria. Also, I want to address some of the domain gentleman who's doing construction. It's difficult, I know, with construction bidding with large companies, but if any large companies like Swyton or Hensel Phelps, any big companies like that do a lot of federal projects, by law, 10% or more has to go to minority. So in order for them to bid on a big project, they might give you a big piece of a small project locally here in order to meet their national requirements. So you want to work with that.
That's a good point. Like in Alameda County, 20%, we require 20% of heads and fells and require 20% for Clark. But what he pointed out is actually they can do more here locally to meet their national requirement. That's interesting. Anybody?
This is more a question. Are there certain communities that are more business friendly than others?
Business communities. That's a great question. I don't know. Yeah, I was going to say whether there's any specific answer.
Let me ask that question. The reason I answer this question, you're not a sitting supervisor. You can answer freely. If you were on the board, I would not be asking that question.
Well, I don't think there's a right answer. I mean, Haywood, I'll say Haywood, right? Alameda, I'll say Alameda. But the fact is, I know each jurisdiction are working hard. I think, people know whether they are government bureaucrats or whether they're elected officials, they know business is important to the community. It drives the community in terms of the vibrancy of the economy. It drives the community because, you know, every jurisdiction needs tax dollars as well. So they are going to help as much as they can. But knowing changing system is not an easy thing. And knowing there are also complicated, conflicting demands. Like with, you know, it's interesting with the 209, you know, you have the pros and cons on both sides. So there's no just one answer to fit it all, but I just know from talking to different people, business side, they still see that a lot need to be done. There's still a lot of improvement that the cities, the jurisdiction can improve on. And on the, you know, the jurisdiction side, I know they're making effort as well. So I'm leaving you with some brochures that you can take home. One is on the vendor guide. It kind of gives you step by step what are the things you need to know when you want to do business with Alameda County. And this one is, you know, help like the kind of question that Marita has, you know, what is slab? How do we define, how do we qualify, what is the process? And for construction, Asia, maybe you will be interested in this. This is JOC. This is a very interesting program, and I supported it when I support all of this when I was on the board. The JOC is like, this is how we improve our system. Before, in every project, you need to go out for a bid. With this program, basically, it's like a big catalog with different jobs. Let's say, replace a door, you know, put on a light, you know, put on a TV or whatever. Each job is listed in a catalog, and there's a range of price. How much does it cost for this job? And we have a whole list of already kind of screened contractors. And then when there's a job is need to be done, you can call that vendor quickly rather than go out to do a whole bidding process. So this is an improvement systematically job. And I don't have extra one, but this is probably similar in terms of the slab. Yeah, it's the same kind, just different look. So it's the slab program, what is slab and all about it. So good luck to you. Oh,
One more question.
one more question, okay?
I want to know, since you retired from the government, what is your future plan, what you are doing now? So we want to know a little bit more about you.
Okay. Thank you, Marita. I'm very excited with my new life, quote unquote. So I am doing 3 things on top of course, spending more time with my husband, my 2 daughters. You know, I have trips, you know, with my daughter, going to Ashland with one to see Ashland and 6th Street Festival, and then going to Hong Kong. I'm very excited about this because my older daughter, she is studying Cal State East Bay for education, master in education. So she wants to be a teacher, but she is thinking about going to Hong Kong to teach maybe a year or 2. So I like it because I'm a mom, and she is going to go see Hong Kong where I grew up. So I'm excited about that. And Steve and I am going to a cruise in Alaska in June. So all these are fun things that I am doing. If I'm on the board, I would be doing all this. I would be sitting there, the budget hearing, you know, all these problems. So that's good. In terms of personally, career-wise, what I'm doing, I'm also very excited. One is I started my consulting business. It's to help business to work with government. So doing government relations, community affairs, like how you do build support in the community for certain projects, and mediation. So some of you know my background is in social work, and so I want to bring in some of the skills and things like that with my work. And that's what I'm, you know, with my business. And then second thing, I'm very excited about it too because it's helping the community. And bottom line is going to be improve the, what do you call it, quality of care, health care. We know our population is very diverse and our patient population is diverse. And so I started this nonprofit called DHTI, Diversity in Health Training Institute. And we just had our first board meeting a few weeks ago. So we are building our board and doing a lot of research to look at the gaps. So we're helping to bring immigrants and refugees who have experience in their home country to work in the healthcare field, to go back to healthcare field. We have partnership with Chabot, and it's doing very well. And we're looking, because the last 3 years I was steering this work for nurses. At the time when I conceived this project was when the state was at the peak of having nurse shortage. So this is really exciting, and some of you are going to ask for your assistance, your help. We're going to have to raise money for doing this good thing. And so the last one is still in very much conceptual stage. Is looking at how to develop a program for more, I think initially for the Asian population, is for the seniors to live in a place that, is aging in place, aging in community, to bring services in for them. So they're not isolated, they're going to be able to grow old happily and healthily. So that's the 3 things right now I'm doing. Thank you, Marita, for asking. So once again, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to meet all of you and talk with you. Looking forward to opportunities to work together. Thank you. I should advertise, right? Yeah. You can look me up on my website. AliceandAssociates.com. AliceandAssociates.com. Thank you.